While packing out a moose carcass, a young hunter returns to the kill site, having hauled a heavy load to his campsite, only to be charged by a large grizzly bear. He fires his gun and clips the animal, sending it veering off into the undergrowth. But when he calls out to his hunting partner, there's no answer. He rushes to the moose carcass and is shocked by what he finds. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. Austin Pfeiffer was just 22 years old when he went on a fateful hunting trip. He and his friend and hunting partner headed to America's largest national park, Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve in Alaska. At 13.2 million acres, the park is the same size as Yellowstone National Park, Yosemite National Park, and Switzerland combined. It covers and expands from the icy waters of the Gulf of Alaska to the rugged peaks of some of North America's highest mountains. It's a wilderness like no other, and where better than to go moose hunting? Austin had married his girlfriend Riley Hunter just 2 years earlier in 2018. The couple had settled in Mansfield, Ohio, where Austin worked for Dulce's Tree Service as an arborist, job site foreman, skilled tree climber, lift operator, and all-around handyman. He was also employed by Game Master Taxidermy, but he loved the great outdoors and the thrill of a hunt. Whenever he wasn't working, he was outside hiking and hunting. The 10-day hunting trip was to be an unforgettable experience and would take them deep within the wilderness. Austin had been planning the venture for 2 years, and now the time had finally come. The two friends made camp on the first day and set about searching for moose. As the weekend approached, the two men found their target. It was an impressive specimen, and they raised their weapons. With the graceful animal in their sights, they squeezed their triggers, and the moose instantly fell to the ground. Night was falling, and there was no way they would be able to butcher and pack the entire carcass before dark, so they field dressed it and left it at the site before returning to their campsite. The cool Alaskan night air would keep the meat from spoiling. The two friends knew that the hunt was over and that in the morning the hard work would begin. An average bull moose yields about 600 pounds or 270 kilograms of meat, which the two friends would have to butcher and haul on their backs to a suitable air taxi pickup location. It was going to be a long, hard slog the following day, so they needed some decent rest. The following morning, when the light was just illuminating the trees surrounding them, they headed back to the kill site. The two decided to divide their efforts. Austin remained at the carcass, cutting up the meat into manageable chunks, while his hunting partner carried it back to their campsite. It was a half-mile between the kill site and their camp, and it was grueling work. With his mind fixed on the job at hand, Austin let his guard down. Their hunting trip was coming to an end, and they had made their kill. But what Austin and his friend were unaware of was that a grizzly bear had smelled the dead moose. Their hunt had led them to the Chisana River drainage in a remote corner of central Alaska, only 25 miles west of the Canadian border. But their hunt hadn't gone unnoticed. Bears are thought to be able to smell fresh blood from miles away. Any bear in the vicinity would likely have been drawn to the smell of the moose carcass. It was an obvious attractant in a remote and wild area, and although capable predators, bears are also opportunistic scavengers and will lay claim to a kill even if they did not hunt the animal themselves. Austin laid his firearm down on the ground while he butchered the meat. He couldn't hold it while cutting up the carcass, but as he made his way around the moose, the firearm was more than an arm's length away, something that proved fatal in the moments that followed. There was a crashing through the undergrowth, and Austin looked up. He saw the flash of brown fur moments before an enormous grizzly came charging out of the bushes. He had no time to react. It had caught him completely unaware, and he was in a very vulnerable position. He was crouched down, slicing up the meat of the moose. He was tucking into what the bear believed to be theirs, and it was an easy target so close to the ground. With no bear spray or firearm within reach, Austin was at the mercy of the bear and its powerful jaws and claws. Nobody knows how close the bear got before Austin noticed it. The surrounding vegetation was extremely dense, and Austin may have only seen the advancing bear at the last second. It leapt into him, sending him flying. It was like being hit by a bus as the bear barreled into the 22-year-old. The wind was knocked from his lungs. The bear was excessively aggressive as it was protecting its cache of food. It bit into Austin's skull, cracking the bone and slicing his torso with its claws. The young man didn't stand a chance. Tragically, he was gone within seconds. There didn't appear to be any long, drawn-out fight. The surprise attack had left him without the ability to fight back, but the bear hadn't finished yet. As Austin's friend was making his way back to Austin to collect more meat, he heard a commotion. It was a half-mile trek to and from their campsite across rugged terrain, and now he was within 50 yards of the moose site. He held his rifle close and raised it slightly when he heard some crashing of undergrowth. He called out in case it was Austin, but there was no answer. Instead, a large grizzly bear came rushing out from behind the trees. But unlike Austin, this hunter had his firearm locked and loaded, the golden brown fur rippling all over the bear's body, its enormous hunched shoulders full of muscle, its eyes and its dripping jowls. Austin's friend took aim when the bear was just 20 feet away. The bullet seemed to strike the animal. It flinched and veered away at the last second. With his heart pounding loudly in his chest, Austin's hunting partner then rushed to the moose kill site, still clutching his rifle and checking that the bear wasn't following him. When he arrived, he couldn't believe what lay before him. Austin was lying motionless next to the moose carcass. It was clear that he was gone. Looking around nervously, Austin's hunting partner knew he needed to get out of there. He rushed back to the camp and called for help on the satellite phone. It was around 7:30 in the evening. The light was fading, but the National Park Service managed to evacuate him out of there safely. But they would have to wait until first light before returning for Austin's body. The National Park Service coordinated with Alaska Wildlife Troopers to access the site and transport Austin to the Alaska State Medical Examiner's office in Anchorage. When officers of the National Park Service arrived on the scene, it looked as though some of the moose carcass had been cached by a bear. Although there was no way of telling whether the bear did this before or after the attack on Austin, it is possible the bear cached the carcass during the night while the two hunters slept in their tent. And of course, when they returned to the moose the following morning, there was no sign of the bear on or near the carcass at all. But it may have already laid claim to the meat the night before, without Austin or his partner knowing about it. Attacks on hunters while packing meat is actually relatively rare, despite the obvious enticement of fresh meat for any bears nearby. Austin's death was the first known bear mauling fatality recorded in Wrangell, St. Elias since it was established in 1980. He is sorely missed by all who knew him and was taken far too soon.